What's up, Film Fixation Podcast? We are back with another episode. I am your host, Jaron Allred, joined here by my co-host, Austin Hyatt. And we're going to be talking about Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, and also No Hard Feelings, starring Jennifer Lawrence. It's going to be kind of we're going to start off on a negative note with Indiana Jones, but then we're going to get into the positives about No Hard Feelings. So just be prepared for that in advance. But we're going to start with some film news. Austin, what do you have?
Okay, perfect. We'll just run through this real quick. Joaquin Phoenix and Viggo Mortensen are reportedly going to star in the next Paul Thomas Anderson film, which is awesome. We love all those names. Huh?
Mm-hmm. And Leo, right?
And Leo, yeah.
Yeah. Dude, that's fantastic.
That's going to be great.
PTA is top 5 for me. Would you agree?
Probably.
Yeah. There Will Be Blood, Boogie Nights.
Yeah.
Magnolia. You haven't seen Magnolia, have you?
Magnolia.
That one's really good.
Master's good.
The Master, yeah. Everything he makes. Yeah.
Yeah, it's great.
Okay,
it's probably top 6 for me.
Top 6?
Just right outside the top 5.
Name your top 5 then.
Probably Damien Chazelle, Martin Scorsese.
Okay.
Maybe not Matt Reeves. Fincher.
Okay. Good.
Denis Villeneuve.
Yeah. Okay.
What's that for?
That's 4, yeah.
Maybe Fincher. I don't know.
You said Fincher.
Oh, did I?
Yeah.
I thought I said no. Chazelle, Scorsese.
Fincher,
Denis. Oh, I said not Matt Reeves. Maybe Matt Reeves.
Really?
I love the Apes trilogy.
So do I.
But you're right. Those aren't better than PTA films.
Yeah. There Will Be Blood is one of the greatest films ever made, I think, in my opinion.
That's tough.
I'd say David Fincher, Martin. Oh, yeah. What about Quentin Tarantino?
Yeah, I like Tarantino more than PTA.
I'd say Tarantino is my 3, and then PTA.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Mine weren't.
And then Damien, and then, maybe Matt Reeves, or there's somebody I'm forgetting, obviously, but.
Let me just, I really like Robert Eggers, too. I don't know if he's better than PTA at all, but.
Yeah, he is good. Okay. What's the next thing?
Sorry. Alexander and Bill Skarsgård are both in the running for Lex Luthor in Superman Legacy, the new movie. David Cornsweet was cast as the new Superman, and I don't remember who Lois Lane was. I don't have that right here.
I don't remember her name, but
we have a new casting for Superman and Lois Lane, so
yeah,
pretty exciting.
The guy looks like Superman.
Yeah, he's really small though. I
wonder
how much they're gonna bulk him up.
He's got
picture I'm looking at right now.
Yeah, he's got to bulk up.
Yeah,
I don't want a scrawny Batman,
because Batman
or Superman. Sorry.
No,
my thoughts just always go to Batman first.
Right.
Yeah,
of course. Yeah,
we haven't cast a Batman yet. It seems like it's going to be Jensen Ackles, man. That's everything that I'm seeing nowadays.
But you didn't like that casting, right?
No.
Why? Why?
I don't. Cause we both agreed he's too like TV. I don't think he's a serious enough actor.
Really?
What was he on like?
Well, I liked him in The Boys, season 3.
Yeah.
I mean, he's really cool and intimidating in that. I feel like if it's written well.
He's such a character on that,
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he's not a Batman or anything.
Yeah.
But
I don't know, man. I just see him as Soldier Boy and so much right now.
Yeah.
So it's tough, but we'll see.
Who would you cast?
See, I wouldn't. I just can't. Tom Holland? No.
Yeah, that could work. Paul Mescal? Timothy Chalamet?
Paul Mescal, maybe, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, he's getting big for a Gladiator.
He might be a little bit too young, but there's just nobody really good enough, I think, right now to be like better than Pattinson is already.
Yeah. What about the kid who plays Percy in No Hard Feelings?
Yeah,
maybe. Work. Did you? We'll get into it in facts about production, but Jennifer Lawrence says that this guy, whatever his name is, what's
Mm-hmm.
Percy's actor's name? Anyway, he reminded her of Christian Bale
Oh,
for
really?
his ability to improvise. Yeah. So
Wow. When did she work with Christian Bale?
I don't know.
Huh?
Let's see.
Or maybe she didn't, and she's just saying that kind of off of her, off of watching him or something.
Yeah, maybe. Oh, American Hustle.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, dude. Because I went to American Hustle, and I was like, but Jennifer Lawrence isn't in that. Because I was just thinking of
Amy
Amy
Adams.
Adams.
Yeah.
I was like, oh yeah, she plays his wife in that.
Right.
So
That's a pretty good.
okay, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. Next thing here, Barbie's sequel reportedly already in early development. Love that.
You love that?
Yeah, man.
I
I want
obviously
a franchise.
I want as much Barbie as possible. I think we should lock down Gosling and Margot for like 10 films,
Yeah.
like Fast X.
Yeah, create a whole cinematic universe out of it.
But I thought it was going to be more of like a masterpiece that you just can't do a sequel to.
Yeah.
So it makes me think about how the story structure is going to play out,
I don't
you
want to
know?
think about it too much, honestly.
Okay.
I want to go in kind of blind.
You do?
Because if I start thinking that way, that it's gonna be a franchise movie, I know I'm
Yeah.
not gonna like it as much.
I don't want like Barbie Adventures,
Yeah.
where she gets a unicorn or something. We'll have a Barbie expert on here at some point. Tell
Yeah.
us about
Yeah.
what those stories are like. But
But it's Barbie month, so
it
start
is.
celebrating, everybody.
Oh wow,
We're less than a month away, 20 days away.
dude, that's
So
crazy. I was looking at advanced screenings, trying to see if I could get out, see it before I went on my cruise.
uh
But
but nothing.
there was a screening yesterday, or hey, no, on the 9th or something of July in Los Angeles, but the tickets are like sold out or something.
Why didn't we get invited?
I don't know. It's ridiculous.
We got to check our answering machine, I guess, because they
Yeah,
would have.
our answering machine. Yeah, I watched
Okay.
too many old movies.
Dune
Okay.
Part 2 trailer came out. Another
Yep.
trailer. Looks amazing. Did you watch it?
Yep, I did.
Looks great.
Very cool.
I was talking to another buddy of mine, Joss. He got mad that I've never name dropped him in all of our episodes. So
Oh,
Joss.
really?
Yeah.
Hey, Joss.
I was talking to him and about some of the castings. Like I didn't really like the Christopher Walken. Walken? That was his name. I have
Right,
to cut
Christopher
that.
Walken. Yeah. He has that voice.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, yeah, Christopher Walken. Because I've read the book, so I didn't really think he could be a good emperor. But
Hmm.
the way he looks in this trailer, I think they're gonna nail it. So
Yeah.
and same with like Austin Butler. I didn't think he was gonna be good in this, but from the way he looks in these trailers now,
Yeah.
good stuff. So excited.
Really, I didn't. You like Austin Butler, don't you?
I do, but I mean, as like Elvis,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So
There was also a new trailer for that Elvis movie with Jacob Elordi. Sofia
Yeah,
Coppola's
Priscilla.
directing that. Yeah.
With who?
Sofia Coppola.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, that's a lot of Elvis that we're getting
yeah,
in a
a little too
5-year
much.
span.
But this one, I wonder if it'll focus more on. I mean, it's
On
about
her,
Priscilla.
yeah.
Like, I wonder how much he'll even be in it, or if he'll just be a periphery character.
Yeah,
We'll see.
probably. We'll see.
Next, we'll just touch on this really briefly. New Jonathan Majors report reveals long history of abusing girlfriends and being violent on sets.
Hmm.
I hope it's some conspiracy against him, but the evidence isn't looking good.
Not looking good. Yeah, I mean, his girlfriend just got arrested, so I
Yeah.
thought that things were looking up, but
Yeah,
I guess
not.
it's going back down.
You know, he
So.
would be a great Batman
Yeah.
if you were okay with a race swap.
Yeah.
If he wasn't abusive,
Yeah,
we'll
I
see.
guess.
but he'd be a great Batman. Alan Arkin passed away.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah,
Yes, that was sad.
pretty sad.
Jeez.
Age
Great
of
actor.
89. Then Barbie projected to earn twice as much as Oppenheimer during the box office opening weekend. We'll see.
That's accurate.
I will tell you, I've already got my ticket to Barbie. I don't have it to Oppenheimer yet, so I'm
Dang, we have
contributing.
to get on that.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah. And you've seen reports how it's like going to be a horror movie.
Yeah.
Like audiences are leaving like devastated from the theater.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting.
I'm really
I
excited.
wonder if it's going to be like a psychological thriller, you know?
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know either.
We'll see. Maybe like the sheer destruction of the atomic bomb like going off is like, I don't know.
I know it's going to scare Zach.
You think so?
We've already talked about it. I think he's going to boycott the movie. So,
Dang.
yeah. There's no other news really. The rest is some other stuff, but I think we've covered it.
Okay, cool. So let's get into it. Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. We saw this a couple days ago, Thursday night, and it is directed by, or no, let me just read the synopsis. A legend will face his destiny. Finding himself in a new era, approaching retirement, Indy wrestles with fitting into a world that seems to have outgrown him. But as the tentacles of an all too familiar evil return in the form of an old rival, Indy must don his hat and pick up his whip once more to make an ancient and powerful artifact, or to make sure an ancient and powerful artifact doesn't fall into the wrong hands. It is directed by James Mangold. It is starring Harrison Ford, Phoebe Waller-Bridge, Antonio Banderas, and John Rhys Davies, and also Mads Mikkelsen as the villain. Okay, I'll read the reviews for you guys. I think they're not entirely accurate. The critic score is 67% on Rotten Tomatoes. I think it was worse a while ago because they premiered this movie at Cannes, the film festival.
Yeah.
And they were saying how that might have been a bad choice because, you know, they're showing so many great films during that time, and this is a popcorn movie if I've ever seen one, you know. So I think that gave it a hit with the critic score. The audience score is at 89% as of right now, and IGN gave it a 4 out of 10, which is pretty much our score that we gave it.
Yeah.
IMDb sitting at a 6.9 out of 10, and the Letterboxd average is a 3.1. As soon as this movie got over, Austin and I looked at each other, and you said it was garbage. And I said, yeah, I didn't like it at all. And then you asked me what I thought, and I said, I like it too.
Yeah.
And you said, yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. So
yeah, we were on a double date, and our dates were sitting in between us.
Yeah.
So we usually when Jaron and I are disliking a movie together, we can kind of glance at each other throughout the movie.
Sometimes I tried to glance over at a few parts. Couldn't see you.
I was sitting there just shaking my head, and I was like, I wonder what Jaron's thinking right now.
Yeah, I knew you didn't like it.
Yeah.
I spoke to my date. I was like, Austin hated that. I'll tell you right now. Austin did not like it because we were talking about it. She was like, yeah, it was good. You know, I liked it. She was kind of just neutral feelings.
Right.
And I was like, yeah, it was okay. I didn't want to go into full, I hated it mode, you know, because
we've made that mistake before. With people who are okay with the film.
We have.
We've hurt friendships that way. So.
Yeah. So no, not a great movie, guys. The budget was $295 million. I don't know how much it's grossed as of right now. It's only been out for 2 days. But yeah, let's get into our thoughts and opinions on it. Let's talk about first the opening sequence. So this film opens up with a flashback scene where Harrison Ford is he in Germany, right?
I think so.
He's somewhere
they're headed back to Berlin.
Okay, yeah.
They're
Well,
on
he's somewhere with
yeah,
Nazis,
yeah,
and he's like got a Nazi uniform because I think he's in disguise,
hmm
but he's in trouble. He's gonna get hanged and stuff, and he's de-aged, and it looked really good for a few moments, in
Well,
my
I think the whole
opinion.
time. I
Yeah,
mean, that's some of the best deep faking I've ever seen.
it's probably
You
the
know?
best I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Right?
Could you name one above it? I couldn't.
Well, I was just barely watching the Irishman
Uh-huh.
a little bit ago, and I think that's really good. But they don't de-age like De Niro and Pacino that much. Only
Right.
like 20 years or so.
Right.
But they're so old in that it's hard to. You can just tell by the way they move and their
Yeah.
posture that like these are 70-year-olds,
Right.
trying to do this, or maybe even older. I don't know. Is Harrison
At the
Ford older than De Niro?
He's 80 years old.
De Niro is.
Harrison
Ford is, yeah. I don't know how old De
I don't know
Niro
how
is.
old De Niro is. De Niro was like 55 when he filmed Heat.
Okay.
Thank you, Jenny.
I feel like he's been around longer, but Harrison Ford started his career a little bit later.
Yeah, like he was 30 something.
Yeah.
De Niro's 79, so
79, so he's younger.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But, around the same. But yeah, I think it looked really good. My only issue with it was how dark it was the whole time. Couldn't see a lot of what was going on. And maybe it was our theater too.
I think it was.
See it at the AMC because they suck and there's a flood. Or there's a conspiracy going on and they don't want us to come back.
Listen, here's what's been going on at the AMC.
Okay, yeah.
We go to Spider-Man, Into the Spider-Verse, 100 degrees in there. We go to The Flash, the top fifth of the screen is cut off. We book tickets to No Hard Feelings.
Mm-hmm.
They refund us. Don't tell us anything. Hey, your showtime's been canceled.
Yeah.
Don't tell us anything. We have to go see it at another theater.
And
pay
buy
money.
tickets.
Gosh. And then the next day we go to see Indiana Jones. Same thing. I mean, they didn't even send us a refund for a while. We were just checking the show times.
Mm-hmm.
It wouldn't let us access it. And then I had to call. I'm like, oh, we flooded, which is a dumb excuse,
You flood on the opening weekend to
Yeah.
Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
And you don't have any screenings.
Insane.
Yeah.
And we sit at the top anyway. Like,
Yeah.
The water damage isn't going to affect it. So we'd be fine.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I thought you were going to talk about the other thing, the actual conspiracy.
Oh, let's hear it.
No. Let's
What
not.
is it?
No, you know. Remember I told you that maybe they're not letting us back because.
Oh, yeah.
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 That's fine. We don't talk about it.
Yeah. She's probably listening. They're probably listening.
Yeah.
Whoever it is. No, but so we had to go to Syracuse 6, which is our local theater, and I haven't been there in 10 years.
Yeah. My parents were saying it was going downhill, but I walked into the theater. I'm like, wow, this is huge.
Yeah, huge.
And we had a great view of the screen right in the middle. And seats were bad. I didn't like them. Like the armrest thing, like wouldn't go all the way up.
Yeah.
It was hurting my arm. And I think the screen kind of just had like a fog to it.
Yeah, it looked like dusty.
Yeah, dusty. I don't feel like anything was exactly in focus. It looked just like a tad bit blurry. So I couldn't appreciate a lot of the cinematography and stuff like that.
Well, that being said, I'm sure if we would have seen it in perfect conditions, that beginning sequence would have been dark the whole time anyway.
Yeah, that's
because
true.
You've got to do that to make sure to make a deep fake look that good. It helps a lot to have it all dark like that.
I just don't like dark fight scenes and sequences.
Yeah, neither do I.
It bothers me, So it kind of just bothered me a little bit.
Yeah.
But the scene was cool, James Mangold said that opening sequence was going to be in the form of like how Raiders of the Lost Ark was, or the opening like the scroll, you know what I'm talking about?
Of Raiders?
Yeah. You know how they open? It's like the text, where they're like directed by Steven Spielberg.
Yeah.
It was the exact same. That was, yeah. But the style did remind me a bit of Raiders,
right. It reminded me of The Last Crusade. Like
it did.
That starts out with a train chase scene.
Yeah.
So
that's true. Spielberg, he likes trains. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, let's get on to the next thing. We talked about that, and we talked about the de-aging.
Yeah.
How good it looked, but
Which, by the way, was the only good. I mean, CGI in this film wasn't that bad. I don't know if we're going to get into this,
mm-hmm.
but it was just so heavily used. Like, you
Yeah,
watch, especially The Last Crusade, like some of the action sequences in there, and it's all practical, are insane. Like when he's in the desert and like jumps on top of the tank. Super cool stuff, you know?
yeah,
And that's what made these movies great was the cool action set pieces that are all practical.
yeah.
And so there was so much going on in this film, but it was all CGI, like nothing practical. I think
I
maybe
know.
the only practical thing is part of the car chases and part of maybe like Indy on that horse, you know?
Most of that was CGI too.
Yeah,
You know, like I think the last little bit where he gets off the horse, that was practical.
right. So,
But
I mean, that's what really took me out of this film is like they relied so heavily on the action and there were like 7 chase scenes in different vehicles
yeah,
and they were all like soulless and empty because it was just CGI.
I
I
know.
did
I
not
mean,
like that.
the entire film is pretty much just a chase scene.
Yeah.
You know, it
Yeah.
starts when the Germans show up at the library or whatever. They get on the horse, they get away, they go to Morocco, they show up, there's a chase.
Hmm.
They get on a boat, they show up, there's a chase. They go somewhere else,
Yeah.
they show up, it's a chase. And even like in the cave, like the kid gets away, there's a chase. You know, it bothered me. I
Yeah.
thought they didn't really give us enough time to settle into scenes, you know,
Yeah.
when they're just on the move the whole time. So that really bothered me. Everybody, I mean, a lot of the positive things people are saying about this movie is there was an abundance of action. You know, it was like, oh, it's
Yeah.
just fun. You know, you're gonna have fun. It's entertaining. I think there's a certain amount where you can just say, yeah, that's enough. You know, you can actually focus on having some good dialogue or, you know, maybe some heartfelt moments. And I just don't feel like we got enough of that. And the heartfelt moments kind of felt like staged a little bit, like
Yeah.
forced. You know, when they're on the boat and, you know, Phoebe Waller Bridge is talking to Indiana,
Hmm.
and then she's like, if you could go back in time, what would you do? And he just opens up and
Yeah.
just says, like, oh, I'd tell my son not to go to the war. This is my wife. You know, Indiana doesn't open up like that. You
No.
know,
And that's the first and last time they mention
his
Muggs or whatever his name is,
mutt.
Shia
Yeah.
LaBeouf. And you know
Yeah.
they did it just because they didn't want to bring him back,
Hmm.
um, the actor, Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah.
And so they had to write him out somehow. And so they just plopped that in there, you know?
Yeah. I thought that was dumb. They could have, like, gave him, I think maybe they were trying to throw a little bit of shade at Shia, you know, because they really kicked him to the dirt in this one. Why don't you say he's like, you know, oh, he's off with his family or something?
Yeah, like he doesn't even need to be there for any of it.
Yeah.
And why did Indy have to be divorced from Marianne? Like I get that it's
Marion. It's
Marianne,
Marion. Yeah.
sorry.
It's okay.
Um I get that like it's setting the stage that Indiana Jones isn't like this successful he's never gotten rich off of all these adventures.
Hmm.
Like he's just ended up back in the same spot in a living alone in an apartment. I get that it's supposed to start out kind of bland and
Yeah.
that explains why at the end of the movie, spoilers as always, at the end of the movie he wants to stay back in time. Like, I
Yeah.
get that. But why the last movie 10 years ago you bring back Marion,
Hmm.
they get married, it's all this like sweet scene,
I know.
and then they're just divorced again.
It bothers
Just
me.
to
You can't just
explain
bring
away
her
Shia
back
LaBeouf.
twice
Yeah, it's so
like that.
dumb.
Do the exact same thing you did in Crystal Skull.
Yeah.
You know, I think they should have learned a little bit from that. And also, I mean, Mutt received a lot of criticism when the movie came out.
Mhm.
Crystal Skull, I'm talking about,
Yeah.
because you know he's like this side character tag along, you know, and they kind of allude to him slightly to taking up the mantle of Indiana Jones,
Uh-huh.
which he doesn't. You know, they shot that down pretty quick. Um, So I think with the criticism that Shia has been getting and the criticism that his character got when the film came out, that they decided to just, do that to his character. The plot it doesn't even really make that much sense, you know? They don't specify what war he went to, and
I think it's just Vietnam.
the Vietnam War.
Yeah.
That's what we assume, right?
Yeah.
But he would have been in his like early 30s going to that war.
Yeah, because Crystal Skull takes place in 62, I think. This place takes place in 69.
Yeah.
It's been 7 years, and he was in his early mid-20s
Yeah.
7 years ago. So, yeah.
So maybe he was younger in Crystal Skull, like what if he was 16 or something? He obviously wasn't.
Yeah, there's no way.
Shia had to have been like 30.
Wasn't he a former student of Dr. Jones's friend in the college that he worked at?
Yeah.
So he's got to be college.
Well, he
age.
didn't graduate.
Right, but at least college.
So he
age.
did graduate. So he's past high school age. Yeah. He was like fixing motorcycles and stuff like that. But yeah, it just didn't really make sense to me. Kind of took me out of it a little bit, that little plot line,
Yeah.
And then they do the exact same thing with like the Phoebe Waller-Bridge character in this movie, where she's kind of the exact same character, just a female and different motivations,
Yeah,
And
but still like daddy issues. Like it is pretty much the same character.
Yeah, that's true.
Just more annoying, dude.
Yeah. you didn't like her?
No.
Yeah.
Like every time she talked, I'm shy about how I don't like English accents or English culture or whatever.
Let's open this up. Why do you not like the British actors?
I don't know. I mean, I do like some. Christian Bale's British. He's Welsh.
Yeah.
Uh,
Florence Pugh, is she?
Florence Pugh. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like Dua Lipa even. She's Armenian,
British?
British, yeah.
I thought she was like Brazilian.
No, I think she's Armenian.
Oh.
Grew up in England.
Okay.
Anya Taylor-Joy, she might count. Argentinian, American, British.
Yeah.
She speaks with a British accent.
She does, yeah.
Even so, wait, I don't know. I just did not like Phoebe Waller-Bridge at all.
There's some annoying Brits. I'll give you that.
Yeah, and she's like the definition of like the annoying kind of
She thinks she's
bland-looking
better
British
than
person.
us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's like so tall and skinny.
Mm-hmm.
Like has a weird shaped nose. I don't want to like go at her
Yeah.
physicals, but it made it hard to watch for me because that's one like necessary part of Indiana Jones
Mm-hmm.
is Harrison Ford is just naturally cool and attractive
Yeah.
and easy to look at.
Mm-hmm.
So when you put like the total inverse of that in his sidekick, someone who's hard to look at, someone who her voice hurts your ears,
Yeah.
it totally ruins the whole thing. Because even at 80 years old, this guy is hot.
You think
Like
so?
at the very beginning, dude, he's got his shirt off.
I know. I was going to talk about that.
For 80 years, he
Yeah.
still had like defined pecs and like no love handles or anything.
I thought it was kind of weird that they did that.
I think it's weird that they did it. I'm grateful they did. It's hot.
I had no problem with it, obviously. But there was some like flab where it's like, oh, I've never seen Harrison Ford like this.
It wasn't flab, dude.
There's
It's
some
old man-
loose skin. I'll say
Yeah,
that.
yeah, exactly.
I mean, yeah, he's got an 80-year-old's body.
Yeah. No, he doesn't.
But he does but he does.
He's
But
got like a
he's in
60-year-old
shape.
body. Yeah.
But you can tell he's 80. He's skinny.
I don't know.
He's skinny.
Yeah.
He's a cyclist. Did you know
Sure.
that? That's
I
how
didn't
he
know that.
stays in shape, I guess.
Huh.
He goes on like these 40-mile cycle runs. That's how he got into shape for the movie.
Maybe I did read that forever ago when this was just being produced.
Yeah. But I mean, Harrison Ford, he's been through it, like physically, like
Yeah.
in the first 3 movies, he did all of his own stunts.
Yeah.
And he like bruised his ribs, broke bones, he got concussions, stuff like that.
Dysentery.
Yeah. He got dragged from the back of from a car, and that's when he like bruised one of his ribs and stuff.
Uh-huh.
That's crazy that, he did stuff like that.
Yeah.
And now it's like, they CGI him like running and stuff like that. When he was climbing up that wall in the cave,
Mm-hmm.
it's like, how is he going to climb this? There's no way. He's 80 years old. He made a few, like,
Right. I'm willing to suspend my belief for that, though.
yeah, but
I mean, I can't cycle 40 miles, and Harrison Ford can.
that's
So
true.
I'm sure Indiana Jones
You
could
could,
get up
man.
a cliff.
Come on.
I could, yeah.
Give yourself some credit.
Sure.
Yeah.
Just signed up for
It's not even that
triathlon.
hard. The bike just goes by itself,
Yeah, more or less.
if you go downhill.
Yeah. If you have
Yeah.
an e-bike.
It's true.
Where were we going? Oh, yeah. Phoebe Waller-Bridge, such a bad sidekick. And
Yeah.
I didn't really like Shia LaBeouf as a sidekick. I thought he was kind of distractingly annoying at points.
Yeah.
She dials it up to 11,
Mhm.
her delivery of jokes and like her little smirk, I just could not stand her, dude.
Yeah, I think she just undermines Indiana as the film goes along.
Yeah.
Even, and we'll touch on the end on what she does, where she makes a decision for Indiana, which she has no right to do, and how it just like, and there's no resolution to that. Like, oh, she just did it, and now Indiana's got to deal with it. So, but
Yeah.
we'll talk about that.
We'll talk about it.
Yeah. So okay, I wanted to touch on. So the artifact they're going after is the dial of destiny
Mhm.
or whatever, and it's like this ancient mathematician made it. Do you remember his name?
Archimedes.
Archimedes, who I've never heard of. Have you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, Archimedes.
Archimedes.
No,
Yeah.
but Archimedes is one of the coolest characters in history.
Really?
Just you could make a billion movies about him because he discovered so many things and he was kind of kooky and crazy.
Okay.
But he discovered the calculation for water displacement by sitting in his bathtub.
Huh.
He
didn't
actually
factor into account continental drift.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
Which, whatever, we'll get to it. But yeah, Archimedes, I think it was cool to have him at the center of the story.
You did? Okay.
Yeah.
I just didn't. I was like, who's that?
Yeah.
So I must have missed that day in history class or whatever.
Yeah, must have been.
History is one of my favorite subjects. So, yeah, I don't know. But this dial, it's made up. Am I right? It's not a real thing.
No, it's not a real thing.
Yeah.
As far as I know.
Well, obviously it's not real, but
Well,
there's
yeah,
no
okay.
like lore,
Well, yeah,
legend.
so if you think of the Ark of the Covenant and
Holy Grail.
those are real-ish. There's a lore about them.
And those were the two best movies.
Yeah.
I thought, why don't we use an artifact that doesn't really need that much explaining,
Mm-hmm.
Then we're not just taken out of nowhere. I mean, I guess you can't do a biblical story nowadays since people are so anti-Christian,
I think it would still work.
You think it would?
Yeah.
I think it would too.
Yeah.
What if they, they did the Ark of the Covenant, the Holy Grail. What's another thing they could do?
Well, at the beginning, there was the lance that killed Christ.
That'd be cool.
That would be cool. But
yeah,
what power does it have,
Maybe there was a drop of his blood that got on it and
can make you immortal or something.
You're immortal. Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. I did like.
What about Noah's Ark? What about that? That'd be cool.
It.
Oh, they did find it. Yeah. So that's just real.
I did like. What was Mickelson's name in this?
Let me look it up.
Nazi guy.
Nazi guy. Yeah.
I liked the idea that he wanted to go back in time and do the war better than Hitler.
That's
a
cool heavy plot. I mean, motivation for a character.
Yeah, I thought that was great. So I would have liked, I think it still works to have something that lets you go back in time, and I just think it was executed poorly is all.
Yeah. I just think they could have used a cooler artifact.
Yeah.
Or something. Where I hear about it in pre-production, they're going after the original 10 Commandments slabs.
Yeah, but what would they do? That's the thing.
You could write on it. You could make another commandment or
and that's
something.
in the Ark of the Covenant. That's what the Ark of the Covenant holds.
Okay.
They did that.
Whatever, dude. I mean, I'm not going to write a Bible story for you. It's hard for me to give these artifacts powers, But I mean, the Ark of the Covenant, did it say in the Bible like what it did, that ghosts would come out of it and kill
No,
people?
I don't think that's part of it. But if you
But
touched
that
it,
was the coolest movie where, I mean, you didn't even know what the Ark did. You just wanted it in a
yeah,
museum, you know? I don't feel
yeah.
like he wants to dial for a museum. He doesn't even care. He just wants, I don't know, what does he want? You know?
Well, that's what I really like about Last Crusade is that little storyline with I can't remember that explorer's name, but that the guy that he keeps running into, and
Yeah.
he keeps saying it belongs in a museum.
Yeah.
I like that because that's actual motivation. You're right. This
hmm
it seems like he doesn't even care. Like he
Well, I mean,
reluctantly
that one
goes
he
on this
wants to
adventure.
more save his father, right?
Well, that's what it becomes.
Yeah.
But the beginning of the movie is him still going after artifacts and wanting
hmm
them in museums, whatever.
Yeah.
But then it's about your
Yeah.
father.
I
So
just never bought into the dial. That's all I'm saying.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
I agree.
Okay. Good. You
Also
don't have to
because
agree. You can keep fighting this if you want.
I'm not fighting. No,
Okay.
I'm just saying I did like the time travel aspect. I think it was kind of lazily explained.
Yeah. True. I
They could
wasn't
have leaned
listening.
into
I
it
didn't
more.
even hear. I didn't know what it did
Yeah, I mean,
until.
they allude to it throughout the movie very lightly,
hmm
but it's all like kind of throwaway dialogue in between these crappy chase scenes. Like
Yeah.
if they would have taken 3 or 4 of those chase scenes out
hmm
and leaned more into the time travel and story of it,
Yeah.
that would have been way better.
I think when they're in the library, like finding the one piece,
Hmm.
maybe he get like Indiana, because you know in like Raiders when those government agents show up, and he's like, "Did you guys ever go to Sunday school?" You
Yeah,
know, and he
love that scene.
writes it down on the chalkboard exactly the significance of where it is and all that stuff, what it does. He could have like did something like that to Phoebe Waller-Bridge, you
Well, yeah,
know, where he
because
shows his teaching chops or whatever.
in that scene, the FBI agents are like, "What is that on that painting?"
hmm
And Indiana's like, "It's lightning or fire coming out of the ark and killing these people."
Yeah.
So right then, by the end of the movie, the stakes when the ark is going to be opened.
Oh yeah, that's right.
If you paid enough attention, you know
Yeah,
what's going to happen. But there's nothing like that.
that's true. Yeah, so it's disappointing. My family was really looking forward to this,
Uh,
and they were like, "Oh yeah, let me know how it is." I told them, like, "Yeah, it was garbage.
yeah,
It sucked." Gave it 2 stars out of 5. And they're like, "What?" And I was like, "Yeah, but
yeah,
you guys might like it, you know." And they're like, "Oh really?" They don't even know what I mean by that, you know. I mean, it's
yeah,
all action stuff. I
yeah,
feel like it can be disguised as a it's a bad movie that's pretty heavily disguised as a good movie.
yeah. I think so.
You think so?
And it hits like all the tropes from Indiana Jones. So
Yeah. People can be swayed on
yeah,
this, I'll say.
like you said, our dates both were pretty okay with it. Grace gave it a 3.
Yeah.
My date. So
Should you give it a 3?
yeah,
Okay.
which I think is far too high. But whatever.
Yeah. I think maybe one day when I'm watching it like by myself and I can just, put it on and chill. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I'll have a different opinion about it.
Well, that's how I was about Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
Yeah.
I didn't really love that for the longest time. I rewatched it earlier this year. I'm like, that's not that bad.
Yeah, the
Like
first
it's
hour I think is good. Like
yeah,
nothing wrong with the first hour. I'll
yeah,
say that. Except for Kate Blanchett's accent
yeah.
is
That's bad.
really, really, really bad. uh so yeah. Okay, so let's talk about spoiler warning. Okay. Gonna get into spoilers now. We're a half hour in, or 40 minutes in, 39. But yeah, we're gonna touch on the end of the movie. So if you don't want to hear about it, then whatever. Then don't listen anymore. But we're gonna talk about it. So the last 30 minutes just gets so absurd and so ridiculous in all the worst ways. It's they get on a plane, Mads and the Germans have Indiana held captive for some reason. No reason at all, actually, just to prove to Indiana that the dial is going to work.
Yeah, do they even say why they bring him along?
No,
Just
he's like, bring him.
stupid.
Dr. Jurgen is his name, and he's like shot in the shoulder, and then you kind of just forget about it,
Mm-hmm.
you know, because he's still like whatever. And so they get him on a plane. They start going to these coordinates, you know, that the dial is leading them to, and then they almost like
Thinking,
bail out last second, thinking that because Mads wants to go back to 1939
yeah, 39
and
before the
like
invasion of Poland by the
yeah,
Nazis.
and like do a better job than Hitler and win the war.
Yeah.
But he ends up going back to like 2000 BC or something during the siege of Syracuse. I don't know when that.
I don't know when that was. Let's see.
Yeah, I think I'm right. But the siege of Syracuse. So there's like they look out of the airplane and there's like boats and stuff.
It's
Wait,
200 BC.
200 BC.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had the 2 part right.
Yeah.
So there's like boats and people with swords and stuff, and everybody down below thinks the plane is like a dragon.
Yeah.
And it's so ridiculous that we're in 200 BC in a Indiana Jones movie, and we get to see Archimedes, which just kind of took me out of it. You know, just he's just dressed up, you know, like an ancient whatever, and like, oh, cool, that's Archimedes. You know,
Yeah.
nobody knows what he looked like. He's just wearing a
Yeah.
robe, so you're like, oh, that must be Archimedes. How does Indiana Jones recognize him when he walks up? You know?
Well, there must be paintings of him. I mean,
Yeah, but
Archimedes was a really famous dude, man. Like,
okay.
maybe. Let's see. Anyway,
And he speaks like whatever language they're speaking, like
ancient Sicilian, I guess.
okay. I
Or
understand that
Latin.
maybe he could read that language,
Yeah.
but when would you learn how to speak? You know?
Well, I mean,
And she knows it too, the Phoebe
it's got to be
Waller-Bridge.
Latin adjacent. So if he
Okay.
knows Latin, I'm sure he could.
I thought it
figure out.
was Latin, maybe, or Greek,
Yeah.
because Archimedes is Greek, I'm pretty sure.
Well, he's from Syracuse is on Sicily, which is
Okay.
part of Italy now. So
Okay.
it's its own thing.
But also, I looked this up. He died during the siege of Syracuse, Archimedes. And I guess he would still have to like create the dial because I think they took it with them. Nobody knows. Do we know if she ended up taking the dial that brought them there?
I don't know.
Or did she leave it? But that's a time paradox, you know?
Well, this time thing works more like it's not a time paradox. So even if he would have stayed in Syracuse, ancient Syracuse, he wouldn't have changed the outcome of anything.
You don't think so?
No, and you know this because there's earlier when they're in Sicily, modern day Syracuse, I think, they're watching a puppet show, and it's the Siege of Syracuse, and there's a dragon puppet, implying that even before they make this trip, there were dragons. At the siege, so they've always gone back to that point.
Okay.
So it's that kind of time.
But what if Indiana Jones stayed?
Yeah,
because he didn't originally stay.
No, he would have.
No, because he didn't.
Let me explain this time travel to you.
No.
In this scenario.
Okay. I understand what you're saying, but like, did Indiana Jones? He didn't stay because he never did. You know what I mean?
What do you mean?
No, I don't even know.
Well, okay, so yeah, the way the movie ended, he never stayed.
Yeah.
Because he got punched.
He
got taken out of there.
Sure.
If he would have stayed, it wouldn't have messed with time. Phoebe Waller-Bridge says, "You can't do anything here. You'll mess with the timeline or whatever."
Yeah.
But he wouldn't have.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
All right.
If he would have stayed, time would have flown exactly how it did.
Okay.
He would have always been meant to stay there.
You don't think he would have said anything about the future or changed some stuff or?
No, because
he was going to die anyways.
That's not how it works.
Okay.
That's not how this version of time travel works.
You know what? I thought the multiverse was Marvel and DC, and now it's Indiana Jones.
There are different types of time travel in different movies, and this isn't like a Marty McFly time travel.
It should be. That was the best kind.
Because then how
he goes back in time to sports gamble.
Yeah,
that's
that would have been great.
Most logical thing you can do.
The most useful type of time travel.
Dude, that's whenever I think about time travel, I think of like, oh, I'll know to bet on so and so to win the Super Bowl. I'll put all my money on it. You know. So, what other use is there for time travel? That's all I'm saying.
Talking Archimedes, I guess.
I guess. Is that like who we always? I mean, they're both smart guys, Indiana, and he's like, "Oh, I'm a relic. This is where I belong." And I think if he wants to stay, which he did, Phoebe should have just let him. Don't you think so?
Yeah, I would have preferred that.
Yeah.
Like, that's a nice end to Indiana Jones. Oh, he ended up in freaking ancient Syracuse.
Yeah.
That's the end of Indiana Jones. We'll never see him again.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, this is going to be Harrison Ford's last Indy movie.
Yeah.
But even so, I don't like that he's back and he got reunited with Marion for the last 10 minutes of the movie.
Yeah.
Because it just felt like a throwaway.
It did, yeah. Just nostalgia, just fan service.
Yeah. And also, like, Phoebe Waller-Bridge, the whole movie is like getting in Harrison Ford's way and like betraying him and all that stuff.
Yeah, why does she care?
The one that gets to make the call to punch him and take him back home.
Yeah.
I just think it's not heartwarming like they tried to make it out to be.
No, I didn't think I was like, why does she even care that he wants to stay, She doesn't care about him. She has betrayed him like a bunch of times during the movie, like you said, and just wants money or whatever.
Yeah, and there's something to be said there about he's lost his son, she's lost her father, like they are good for each other.
Yeah.
But the whole movie doesn't play into that.
They didn't So they didn't establish that relationship.
Yeah.
Like they should have. Yeah.
Yeah, we know he's her godfather, and we know that she has issues with him not being around when her father died.
Yeah.
But it's just not a satisfying ending for me.
Yeah. No, me neither. Okay. So anything else you want to touch on in the movie?
No.
No? Okay. All right. Let's rank them real quick. This is going to be quick because I'm like 99% sure we're on the same page.
I'm excited to see.
Are you?
Yeah.
I need to have a list here. I just can off the top of my head.
Okay.
Let's
go from first to last?
Let's go last to first.
Okay.
Okay. Number 5, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny.
Yeah.
Do you agree?
Yep. And it might be recency bias. Like you said, maybe in some time I'll put it over Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, but I just really don't see that happening.
Recency bias is supposed to be like you think it's better than Crystal Skull, right?
Well, it can be positive or negative.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because we're just still pissed off a little bit.
Yeah. Because I saw it recently, I have a certain bias, either for or against it.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, me too. Maybe. I don't think so. I think we're right.
Yeah, I think
we're right about this, yeah.
Yeah.
And then I'll say Crystal Skull.
Right.
Right? Then Temple of Doom.
Mm-hmm.
Then Last Crusade.
Mm-hmm.
And then Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's easy.
And I've rewatched all of those within the last 4 months. So, like, that's how I currently stand on them.
Yeah, me too.
Like, I rewatched Raiders not too long ago.
Mm-hmm.
Such a great movie.
Yeah.
I thought that I just liked it as I was growing up because it was a cool indie movie.
Mm-hmm.
But it's awesome. So
yeah, no. I watched it like 3-4 days ago, and it definitely holds up. I would have preferred like the action in those movies to what we got, where it's like, practical, and some of it's like silly and doesn't really work that well. I mean,
but it does work that well.
I mean, okay, yeah, it does.
Yeah.
It's aged a little bit.
Yeah.
Where like, I don't know, like some of the punches are misses and he's on the side of a tank or whatever. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I really enjoy it. I think it's awesome. Yeah.
I would much prefer that.
Yeah. Or like when they're flying in the plane with Indy's dad, and you can tell they're on a green screen. But it's so funny what happens, because he accidentally shoots the tail end of the plane, and he's like, Indiana, I'm sorry. They got us. That was a good Sean Connery impression. I didn't even know I could do that. Yeah.
Except I don't think he calls him Indiana. I think he only calls him Indiana once.
Henry.
Yeah.
Henry.
Junior.
Indiana was the dog's name.
Because he only calls him Indiana when he's pulling him up as Indiana's like reaching for the grail.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Junior, come back.
Junior.
And he's like still not listening. And then he's like, Indiana.
That's true, yeah.
Anyway. Good movie.
Great movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. That one, I watched The Last Crusade and I was like, is this better than Raiders? Like, it might be because I really love this.
Yeah.
And then I watched Raiders. I'm like, no, this is the best. Last Crusade is still good, but I think Raiders it's kind of undisputable that it's the best.
Yeah.
So,
Little tidbit, we were talking about this a couple weeks ago.
mm-hmm.
Raiders isn't chronologically the first movie.
Yeah.
For our trivia fans out there. Temple
Yeah.
of Doom takes place before Raiders of the Lost Ark.
That's strange. I never knew that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it takes place 2 years earlier, like in 1937 or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it's because Spielberg and Lucas didn't want the Nazis to be the villains in all three movies.
Oh, okay.
They wanted like something fresh.
Yeah.
But then they both hated how Temple of Doom turned out. So they just went back to the formula.
Yeah, I've heard a lot about what went on during the making of that movie.
Yeah.
Because Spielberg and Lucas were both going through divorces.
Yeah.
And they were just in a really bad place. And so the movie's like really, really dark.
Mm-hmm.
Like a guy gets his heart taken out of his chest. But it's not bad. I think it's still like, it's a good trilogy. I think when you watch a trilogy, you should still watch Temple of Doom.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's annoying characters like the girl.
I think that is one of the worst written women in film.
Okay, yeah.
Is his girlfriend in that movie.
Yeah.
All she does is whine and like scream.
Indeed.
It's like, why is she even in this?
Yeah.
And then Short Round is so cool and so fun.
He is cool.
What if they brought him back to revise? What if he carries on the mantle of Indiana Jones, Ki Hui Kwan?
No.
Yeah, I don't think anybody could do it.
No. I think, well, I was like, before this one was made, like in 2016, they were thinking about different actors. So at the top of the list, it was Chris Pratt. And I thought that was like just bound to happen,
Oh, man.
No? And then they also said maybe Bradley Cooper. What do you think about that?
That could work, but I still don't think he has that like cool factor that Harrison has.
Well,
Yeah,
nobody is as cool as Harrison Ford.
That's what I'm saying.
Like in the 80s, 90s.
Yeah.
There was nobody cooler than him. So it's almost impossible.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Don't do it.
You just can't recast him.
You just can't do it.
Yeah.
Bradley Cooper for looks would be spot on.
He's kind of got...
Same vibe.
He's just not like I don't know. Limitless is a good like kind of action movie.
Mm-hmm.
He's really good in that. I'm a big Bradley Cooper fan. I think something of it in a similar form, but maybe not Indiana Jones, the character.
Yeah.
He would do really well with that. Also, Chris Pratt, too. I like Chris Pratt.
Yeah, I do too, but I don't.
We're getting a lot of him nowadays.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's already got so many other franchises, Mario, Jurassic Park, and some other.
Marvel.
Yeah, Marvel. Yeah.
Yeah, it couldn't work.
It would be tough to beat Indiana Jones, too.
Yeah,
and like Star-Lord. Yeah.
Could you imagine if they did commit to a Shia LaBeouf Indiana Jones?
It wouldn't have worked. I love Shia LaBeouf, but he's
Yeah.
wrong for that. Yeah. He's too like nervy,
Nervy or nerdy?
Nervy.
Nervy.
You get what I mean, right? Like anxious,
Yeah.
You need somebody like cool and calm,
Mhm.
like Harrison Ford, obviously.
Yeah, like Harrison Ford just doesn't care about anything,
Yeah, he's so rugged and
Yeah, dude.
yeah.
Oh my god.
He's got that cool scar on his chin
Yeah.
and stuff. Yeah. He's a cool dude.
He's just cool, man.
I know.
The one flaw about Harrison Ford is as he aged, he wears that earring in his left ear.
Yeah.
I think that takes away from his cool.
You don't like that?
No.
Okay. Never really formed an opinion on it, but
Okay.
I mean, yeah, no.
Yeah, you don't need to. That's okay.
Well, yeah, it's not that cool. I guess you're right, But I'm not going to question him on it.
Why would you?
Yeah. Okay, what was your favorite part, man? There's not enough to do for me to give you choices, Maybe the opening when I was like, maybe this will be a good movie. You know?
I mean, that deepfake, like we said, was so good.
Yeah.
And it was just prime Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
As he's like going through the train and like knocking people out.
Yeah.
and like pretending to be a Nazi.
What if they did? What if they just deep faked him the whole movie, and it was just an old Indiana Jones movie?
Honestly, I wouldn't take huge issue with that.
Yeah, that would have been cool. But you gotta like really commit to the VFX and like
Yeah, your whole budget would go into that.
take like years, like 5 years
Mm-hmm.
to do it. And that's just like the studio would never do that. That's just
No.
too much money and
It
time.
would just be an animated movie,
Yeah.
pretty much at that point.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's probably my favorite part. Or when he's shirtless.
Okay.
Dude, even everybody was so bad in this movie. Like
Yeah.
even Boyd Holbrook, who is the
Yeah.
like white guy with the slick back hair,
Mm-hmm.
he's in Narcos
Okay.
with Pedro Pascal. They're the two stars.
Yeah.
They're killer in that. I love Boyd.
And he's like an
But-
American that's also a Nazi.
Yeah, he's like a Southern dude that's working for the Nazis, like contracted out. I
Yeah.
couldn't tell if he was working for the CIA at first,
Weird.
but then he seemed like he was full Nazi. Anyway, he was really bad in this. Even Mickelson didn't sell me on anything.
Mm-hmm. Can we talk about how bad the kid is?
Yeah.
Horrible, horrible kid actor.
Mm-hmm.
He's got like a unibrow and he can fly a plane because he practiced
There was
with
good foreshadowing, dude.
he
They
practiced
established
with
that.
like some cans and food and asked a pilot. He talked to a pilot once,
There was one sentence of explanation, and it got him through.
and then he literally flew a plane into the dial opening or whatever and
Yeah.
went back in time and saved everybody. And dude, he just like couldn't read his lines right, you know, and just such a child.
Yeah,
Our child actors are getting worse nowadays.
they are, dude.
They're getting
Well-
so much worse.
Yeah. It makes me wonder if Temple of Doom came out today, if I would hate Short Round.
Well, we don't, and we watched it
I know, but
recently.
I grew up watching. Well, yeah, that's true. But I wonder if I like see it through a nostalgia lens.
I think kid actors back then were a lot better. Like Stand By Me,
The Goonies,
The Goonies.
he's in that as well.
He is kind of annoying in that. He goes like really hard on the accent. I couldn't really understand him that much.
Well, that's why he like had to take a step away, is because it was all the stuff he was getting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
I don't even want to speculate who could have played this guy, because he was just
We
bad.
don't-
He was so
wait.
unnecessary,
Why
too.
not Jacob Tremblay?
Is that Luca?
Yeah.
Is that Flounder in
This Flounder from
Yeah,
Little
that
Mermaid.
could
He'd have been cool.
Yeah, well, but why does he need to be in this at all?
I don't
He's
know
just
why he
Phoebe
tagged along
Waller-Bridge's
on the
sidekick.
adventure. I was
And then
like, yeah.
When he gets kidnapped by the Nazis, I was like, good.
Well, yeah.
Like Indiana
him.
Jones
Keep
isn't going
him.
to care to go after this kid, and he doesn't. He's like,
Yeah.
yeah, they just want him for information. They're not going to hurt him.
Uh-huh.
So it's like, why? I don't know.
Yeah.
I had no emotional
Information, what
attachment
does
to
he
this guy.
know?
Yeah.
You know? So stupid.
Anyway,
Yeah. Anyway.
yeah, get that guy out of the movie.
Okay. Least favorite part? The last half hour for me.
Honestly, I think if they would have leaned into it and done it a little differently, I really like the time travel into some ancient time, because that's what Indiana lives for.
I don't like it.
Yeah.
I
just
think you need to make it a little more grounded.
it was really poorly executed. Like that whole section,
Mhm.
I was just shaking my head like, what? And then there's like a little super short subplot where that Roman centurion like sees the plane crash and goes to like hunt them down. It's like, that's so unnecessary.
Yeah, I didn't even
Like, it
notice
just
that.
got out of hand.
Yeah. I just thought it was ridiculous. You know, I've seen the Holy Grail heal somebody, and I bought every second of it, you know, and I saw the Ark of the Covenant blow up a Nazi's head, you know.
That's just your Judeo-Christian
Yeah, that's just
Centricism.
my,
talking.
yeah. It's just my background, you
Yeah.
know. But it just seemed like this is just ridiculous. This would never
Yeah.
happen. It doesn't feel real to me at all. And it's not fun if I don't buy it, you know.
Yeah.
That's the problem with us. I think when you know, there's one or two things that have to go wrong, like near the beginning of the movie, and then we're just out, kind of.
Yeah. Well, it's a snowball effect.
It is, yeah.
Because it takes you out of it, and then you're like hyper fixated on what's the next bad thing going to be, and then when it comes, you're just
Well, that's why this is the film fixation podcast.
yeah, we just
because
that's exactly right.
we're fixators.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because we're on the spectrum.
Yeah. Okay. Is this the greatest movie ever? No.
No,
I'm gonna answer that first.
not the best time travel movie ever
No.
at
It's
all.
not the best Indiana.
No.
It's not.
Could be the best movie that takes place during the siege of Syracuse.
Yeah. It's the best movie with Archimedes. But I'll have to do some research.
Yeah, we'll have
On
to do
that.
some research on that.
Maybe there's some movie with him that's actually pretty good. Okay, most literally me character. Just Indiana Jones. Yeah. Exactly. Was there any my friend Kyler commented on our YouTube and said maybe we could focus a little bit more on the cinematography of the movie. Is there a shot in particular that stood out to you during this movie?
I liked the beginning reveal where Indiana like has a hood over his head. They spoiled it in the trailers, of course.
Yeah.
When he has the bag over his head and they're like leading him through the camp.
Yeah.
And they whip it off and there's like the light in his face and it's young Indiana Jones.
Mm-hmm.
I liked that because it's also a trope of the Indiana Jones films where there's like a kind of a slow reveal.
Yeah.
To the opening. I can't think of another shot that I liked particularly.
Yeah, there weren't that many. It's a lot of chase scenes. not a lot of like, them standing in a scene and the background's like
and
beautiful.
When they wore it was bad. Like the
Yeah.
whole Syracuse thing was color graded really poorly. And again, maybe it was our screen.
I just think it was really bad. Because I've heard from other people too. Like the
Yeah.
last half hour is just really bad CGI.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Like when they're on the boat, it's bad.
Yeah. They have that shot of like the very beginning once they jump off the train and you see the bridge in the background with the British flag.
Yeah, that's cool.
I mean, that was cool. But,
yeah,
it's a British flag, whatever, So,
yeah, F that.
Yeah.
No, yeah. Sorry, Kyla. Nothing to talk about here.
Okay, yeah, sorry. Maybe the next one.
Yeah, we're going to do, yeah, anyway.
Okay, and then I just had, we touched on pretty much on all the facts I was going to bring up. Harrison Ford, he'd do 40-mile bike rides to get in shape for this movie.
Very cool.
Chris Pratt and Bradley Cooper were rumored to be assuming the role of Indiana Jones, but in 2015, they said Harrison Ford would be doing it. And he subsequently stated in 2019 that he didn't want his character to be recast, saying, "When I'm gone, he's gone. It's easy." And then he later confirmed in 2022 that the fifth film would be his last time playing the character, which that's obvious. He's 80 years old, so
yeah. Well, I genuinely thought Crystal Skull was going to be the last one.
Yeah,
because he was 70 years old when they filmed that.
Yeah, that's true.
So
yeah, I was really surprised when they said he'd be coming back. Spielberg saw the movie and he gave it his blessing. He said, "I'm really proud of what Jim has done with it," referring to James Mangold. He said, "When the lights came up, I just turned to the group and said, 'Damn, I thought I was the only one who knew how to make one of these.'" I think he might be. Yeah. But yeah, so Steven Spielberg didn't direct. It was entirely his choice, but he decided to stay on as an executive producer. And I guess there was a different ending that needed to be shot. And so John Williams needed to compose a new score for it, that last sequence. So maybe he was going to stay. Maybe they tested different endings or something.
Maybe.
Yeah. Because there's no like, there's no scene of them like getting in the plane and going back home,
Yeah.
So it is entirely open for them to like end that how they wanted to.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's all I have. Yeah, so I think that's all we're going to say about this movie. Just disappointing. It was disappointing. Maybe if I didn't have any expectations for this movie, I would have liked it a bit more.
we keep saying that, but I feel like I'm going in with pretty low expectations.
Really?
Like as soon as I saw IGN's score of 4,
Uh-huh.
I've never seen IGN give a score that low.
Yeah.
Not that I really keep track of them, but they're usually egregiously high for
Mm-hmm.
bad movies. Like they
Sometimes
gave
I
The
feel like
Flash
I
an
just
8.
want to disagree with the critics, you know?
I don't know, man.
Like I wanted to disagree with IGN because they gave The Flash like an 8, you know?
Well, yeah, that's a good point.
This was better than The Flash. Would you say that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But and then I saw the audience score. It was a 90 the other day. So I was like, maybe the critics are wrong, but I don't think they are. So okay, so that's enough ragging on the movie. We're already at an hour. How
Yeah.
much do you want to talk about?
I mean, we could just
Do a
say that
set.
we liked No Hard Feelings. I can read the facts, whatever.
Okay.
We can just do 10 minutes on it.
Yeah, yeah. 10, we don't want to put a limit on ourselves or whatever, but
We don't want to what?
we don't want to put a limit on ourselves.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we'll just start talking about it. We'll see how it goes.
Okay.
Okay, we also watched No Hard Feelings this week before Indiana Jones,
Yep.
which it was myself, Jaren, and my wife,
Yeah. What's her name? Yeah.
Grace.
Grace. That's right.
And dude, we had a good time at this movie.
It was hilarious. Yeah.
I did go into this movie with pretty low expectations.
Really?
Because the trailer makes it look like a silly, dumb rom-com.
Yeah.
But it was genuinely funny. Like, I was laughing the entire time.
Dude, really, really good. Some of my favorite lines, like in a comedy movie, were from this. When he when they're at the restaurant and he shows up in the jean shorts, that was hilarious. But when the waitress is like, "What do you want to drink?" He's like, "Do you have Pepsi?" And then she's like, "No." She's like, "No, only Coke." And then he's like, "Oh." And he just turns to Jennifer Lawrence. He's like, "Do you want to go someplace else?"
Yeah, that's perfect characterization too.
I know.
Because on another level, I don't trust anybody that drinks Pepsi,
Yeah.
over Coke.
Uh-huh.
So it just makes you dislike this guy even more. Well, you like him even more because he's so
I
weird.
just thought he was so funny,
It's great.
He plays that so well. Like, I didn't think there were many good actors that could do a character like this, except for like Michael Cera,
Yeah.
But now like Michael Cera's getting old.
Mhm.
All of those like roles, like that he played in like Superbad and whatever else he's done. Scott Pilgrim versus the World. That's gonna go to this kid because he's really good. He's really funny. He does it like seemingly without even trying that hard,
Yeah, he totally embodies the character.
Yeah, and he was right there with Jennifer Lawrence.
Yeah.
Like, the whole movie, and she was fantastic. Like, I said this in my review of it. I think she's the funniest an actress has ever been in a movie.
In this movie.
Yeah. Yeah, because think. What do you
Well,
think?
if Amy Schumer would have taken the Barbie part,
that would have been like Oscar bait.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I'd have to.
Amy
think about
Schumer
that
in Trainwreck. What do you think? No. Yeah.
Who's the other gal that's like a comedian that
She's
an
Amy
identity
Poehler,
She was
Melissa McCarthy.
Yeah, Melissa McCarthy.
Not as funny as Jennifer Lawrence,
No,
in
never.
my opinion.
Yeah, dude, Jennifer Lawrence just killed this.
There's like
She's so
Sandra
good.
Bullock has been funny in
Yeah.
movies, like The Proposal, I guess. But like, think about the movies where it's a female lead in their own comedy movie. That just doesn't happen that much.
Yeah, and I'm still working through all the classics. I probably just haven't seen very many of them.
Kristen Wiig, she's gotten like one or two of these types. Ghostbusters. But yeah, I think it's easy to say this is the funniest actress has ever been. Okay.
Oh wait, I see Jane Fonda in 80 for Brady right now.
Yeah. Well, we haven't seen that, so we can't say.
Okay, I can read some facts about their production. So first it got a 68 critic score. On Rotten
Slightly
Tomatoes.
better than Indiana Jones.
Yeah. So they're each off by 1 point. And then an 88% audience score.
Oh, wow.
Indiana Jones was 89. But I gave this a 4. Maybe a soft 4, but a 4. You gave it a 4 as well, Jaron.
Yeah.
Whereas we both gave Indiana Jones a 2.
Yeah. So the thing is with this one, I wanted to give it honestly a 4.5, maybe 5. Like if they stuck the landing on this, and I could talk about this movie like being a classic comedy movie,
Yeah.
you know, because we've been so depraved of good comedy movies, you know, in the last 5 to 10 years, I'll say,
Mhm.
you know, 5 years, 5 years, yeah. Um, where it's like, you know, these SNL people are taking over. It's not a lot of the really funny ones,
Yeah.
you know. Pete Davidson's gotten a couple movies, and Bill Hader, he's really funny, you
Yeah. I was
know.
just watching Barry before he came over.
Yeah, Barry's really good. Um, but like he was in Trainwreck with Amy Poehler, just wasn't that funny, you
Yeah.
know. LeBron James was in it.
Yeah, bro. We need another MacGruber. You
Yeah.
know.
Shut up. That's a good movie. Will
Yeah, it's great.
Forte is hilarious, man.
Yeah. No, it's great.
But no, dude, this I was like blown away. The first, you know, it takes a little bit. It's not funny hardly at all until you get into the plot of the movie, which is her showing up to uh, date this kid
Yeah.
because he's really shy and antisocial. He's about to go to college, and his mom and his dad are like rich helicopter parents or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and they want Jennifer Lawrence to date him, like date him, I guess. I
Yeah.
don't know. Maybe that's something they wanted.
Well, here's the thing. This is based off of a real Craigslist ad.
Yeah, I saw that.
So, based off of a real Craigslist ad, there were actually people offering a car
Mm-hmm.
for somebody to take their son's virginity,
Yeah,
which is just insane.
I know. That
And
is insane.
this movie apparently is getting a lot of flack for like the age difference. Jennifer Lawrence plays a girl who's 32,
Mm-hmm.
and
He's 20.
Percy is 19.
Oh, 19.
Yeah,
Thought he was 20.
no, 19.
No? Okay.
Because they're saying that it's like if the roles were reversed and it was a man hitting on a teenager,
Yeah.
well, you know,
Yeah.
which,
No.
but the roles aren't reversed.
It
It's
would
this
be
movie, like,
creepy, yeah.
it would be creepy, but that's not what the movie is. This is funny.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Jennifer Lawrence doesn't seem that old. I still just see her as, you know,
yeah, it's Katniss Everdeen.
she's Katniss, yeah.
Yeah, nobody had an issue when she was 24 playing a 16-year-old or whatever it was.
Yeah. I know.
So,
Um, but yeah, what was I saying? Just okay, so like the first little bit until like she shows up and starts, you know, hanging out with Percy, then it's like it doesn't stop. It's
yeah,
funny
nonstop
for
laughs.
like an hour straight. So like I was gonna piss my pants, you
Yeah.
know. And me, you, and Grace, man, just laughing, turning into each other. It was a magical. It was just a great experience,
Yeah.
you know. And then I almost cried at one point. I mean,
Like from laughter?
no, I mean, because then it got really touching for a moment
It did, yeah.
where he sings a song in a restaurant, plays the piano,
Mm-hmm.
and I was just thinking about the meaning of it all, you know, and it just made me just really feel something, you know. And then at that point, I was like, "This is a 5-star. If they can, you know,
Yeah.
do the rest of this correctly."
Because at that point, they're building like a lot of tension and they're doing it really well.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're like, oh my gosh, Percy's going to find out that she's responding to this ad because they're really clicking.
Yeah,
And you're like, oh, I don't want any of this to fall apart.
I didn't
You
want
know?
him to find out. I
Yeah.
wanted them to sort of end it.
And I really didn't expect that going in. I didn't expect any aspect of that,
Really?
like that suspense and, you know,
Yeah. No. So the end, I mean, so the second act is like nearly perfect.
Yeah.
But then the third act, you know, it falls apart, and then it's kind of, you know, it touches into deeper meaning, you know, of preserving people's feelings and being careful with them and not ghosting people, stuff like that. Jennifer Lawrence has stuff to figure out, which she does. But it's, you know, you're tying up these loose ends and these plot holes, or not plot holes, but, you know, the rest of the story. And it's
Yeah.
just not as funny, not as entertaining.
and they just do it really quickly.
Yeah.
They just kind of check all the boxes just to tie everything up.
Yeah, pretty
There's
much.
not a real
It's just like, oh,
process
let's
to
just
it.
wrap this up and then,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, if they would have added 25 more minutes to this movie, I think it would have been like a 4.5 for me.
Yeah. Yeah. So, like, maybe it was a 3.5, but like, I just loved it so much.
Yeah, the theater
second
experience,
act.
you know.
Yeah. Dude. We were probably laughing the most in the whole theater.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I felt bad for like people next to us. I was like trying to listen a little bit if they're laughing too, like as much as we are. I don't think they were, but
Yeah. And dude, the great thing about this movie is it's one of those. I don't want to like compare it straight across to Superbad or something like that,
mhm.
but it's a light movie that's heartfelt, and you can watch over and over again. You could watch it in a group of people, and like I'll have a fun time.
Yeah.
Except for
Except for
the
that
full
one
frontal suplex that Jennifer Lawrence does.
scene. Yeah.
But that's a hilarious scene.
It's crazy. Yeah.
Super funny. I was dying.
Yeah. Uh, no, this is a great movie. I rewatch Superbad, just all the
Uh,
time. So this will be a good one to have in the rotation
Yeah.
now of good comedy movies.
Mhm.
So yeah, I really liked it. Is there anything we want to talk? What was your favorite part? Let's talk about that.
Probably the fight scene.
Fight scene. Mine was him playing the piano.
Really?
Yeah, just because. So what happens is, they hear a song on their first date, and it's the Man Eater song.
Mm-hmm.
You know how it goes, right?
Oh, here she comes.
Yeah, she's a man
Watch out
eater.
for she'll
Yeah.
chew you up. Yeah.
And he's like, what does he say about it? He's like, oh, I love
He's like,
this song.
oh, this song's about a monster.
This song's about a monster. We used to play this, like, I'd play this during Halloween. And
Yeah.
she's like, what? It's
Yeah.
it's about like women,
Yeah,
and
a
then,
woman that like uses a man.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so he's so innocent. He doesn't understand that, and then they're on that, beautiful date in the restaurant, and things are going well, and you can tell they're kind of falling for each other.
Mm-hmm.
And then he plays the song, and he does it so beautifully, man. Like,
Yeah.
he's playing the piano, he's singing. I didn't expect him to sing. I thought he was just going to play, but he has a great voice.
Well, I found this out. He's like a Broadway guy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the actor.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then it gives you a close up. It's a shot of Jennifer Lawrence, and it just gets closer and closer as
Mhm.
she's now understanding the weight of her actions.
Yeah.
Like, okay, he's fallen for me. He's memorized this song that he
Like
just
overnight.
yeah,
went home and learned
overnight
it.
that we
Yeah.
just heard on our first date together. So it means something to him. And
And the song's describing her.
the song's describing her. Yeah,
there's
exactly what
layers to
she's
it.
doing to him. And now he doesn't realize that that's what she's doing to him.
Mm-hmm.
Just in the same way that he doesn't realize that's what the song is about.
Yeah.
He's kind of just ignorant. Got this ignorance, is bliss
Yeah.
going on. And she, like, doesn't she cry a little bit? Like, she's definitely feeling the emotions of it. And I really, really liked that part. And I almost cried a little bit.
Yeah, it was great. And Tyler, that's a great cinematic scene. Just the way that they shoot Percy's hands on the piano,
Mm-hmm.
and then the close-up shot that kind of pans out, or maybe the reverse that pans into Jennifer Lawrence,
Yeah.
showing that she's like thinking on it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, great scene.
Very beautiful.
Yeah, that's probably maybe my favorite scene. I also really like their first date.
Yeah, the first,
Just
it's
of
just
how
so
fun-
funny. Yeah.
And well, I do really like when she first finds out, because right after she first talks to the parents, they're like, "But don't just like date him just to date him. Like get to know him and make it special for him."
Mm-hmm.
And immediately she goes to his work and is like crazy,
Yeah.
like going for him. I love that whole scene
Dude.
because that's our first introduction to Percy, and he's just like, "Oh, so great."
Dude, she's so funny. Like, even in that meeting, she's like, where is he? You want me to jump out and scare him? And she, like, jumps.
Oh
She was just so funny, man. I was
Yeah.
dying. And I hope that this leads to more, like, comedic opportunities for her. I want her
Yeah.
to do more comedy movies.
I hope so.
Yeah.
the budget for this was like 45 million, and
Wow.
it's grossed like 30 million so far.
That's
So,
not enough, man.
but I think I'm sure it'll surpass the budget. I just hope more stuff gets made like this, even if
Yeah.
it's not with her.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and
Yeah.
maybe there are these rom-coms that are coming out. Like I didn't see that Sandra Bullock and Channing Tatum one, but a lot of people like that.
Lost City.
Maybe that's along this. Yeah.
Really? I never saw that either. I
So
saw Morbius instead.
yeah, but this has opened me up. I mean, I went into this, kind of just wanting to see it for Jennifer Lawrence,
Yeah.
and but maybe this is a category of movie I like.
Yeah.
Moral of the story: if you're torn between two movies this weekend, go see No Hard Feelings instead of Indiana Jones.
Yeah. Just be prepared. Look up the parental
Yeah.
thing or whatever on IMDb before, so you know. But yeah, great movie. Lot of positive things to say about it. So
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That should be good, right?
Yeah, I think that's good.
All right. Thank you everybody for tuning in. Next week we're gonna do a classic because in the new Insidious movie, Behind the Red Door, whatever, is coming out, but the trailer's not really doing it for me.
Yeah, and I haven't. It's the fourth one, right? I haven't seen the third one.
Oh, really?
I didn't even know they were this far along. I've seen the first two.
Maybe I thought the third one was like a spin-off or something, or
I thought so too. I didn't know it was a direct sequel.
Oh.
I do love Insidious 2. I've kissed like 3 chicks while watching Insidious
really?
2.
That was.
Yeah, that was like my high school getting it movie.
I had one of those.
Yeah, what was it?
Pursuit of Happiness.
Really?
Yeah, for
Very
some
different
reason.
vibes.
I think it just happened twice, and I was like, "That's kind of funny," and then that just became my go-to. So
Perfect.
okay, but we're gonna do a classic, or I mean, we're still gonna go see Insidious, but
Yeah.
probably won't talk about it. Maybe we'll touch on it next time, but yeah, we haven't decided yet. So just tune in next week to find out. So
Yeah, and if you're listening and you have any suggestions on what you'd like to hear on and off week like that,
yeah, let us know.
let us know.
Okay, cool. All right.
Okay.
Thank you for fixating on film with us. Good night.
Thank you.